I'm very excited to be here today to share with you the 7 steps to a remarkable career. In my day-to-day job, I work with leaders like you to maximize their impact and fulfillment. And I have found these 7 steps to be important. Let's dive right in. Step number 1, define success for yourself, or other people will define it for you. I find in my work many times leaders will realize that sometimes we'll have worked for years to achieve something and then realize that's not what I wanted, that's what my parents wanted, that's what my friends wanted, that's what my spouse wanted. So it is important to take the time to really realize that. One example is I coach a lot of senior engineering leaders, and many of them realize I never wanted to be a manager. I would much prefer writing code, being at the cutting edge of the technology, rather than be a manager. But because manager was the next step in the career ladder, they're doing that. I have 2 definitions of success, just to give you inspiration. You have to create your own. One is from Maya Angelou. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. And the other is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. To know even when life has breathed easier because you have lived. The second step is align with your values. And most people, when I talk about this, most people get scared. Well, what are my values? What is this? Very few of us take the time to find out what is it that we value. So I have suggested 3 ways here. First, observe where you spend your money, your energy, and your time. Many people will say, oh, I value health, but then you don't invest in your health at all compared to your career, time, or energy, or money. Or I value family, but you work non-stop. The second is observe what causes intense feelings. Many times in coaching, you will see people being upset, let's say with your manager. And many times it comes down to a value you have that your manager may not have it, may not share it. Let's say fairness or respect. So knowing your values will help you to find the teams, to join the teams that share similar values, and that way you will be happier in your job and have a more remarkable career. So notice what is really upsetting, or what is it really delightful. If you're walking and you see someone throwing a rubbish on the street, if this is upsets you, means you have a value there, whether it's sustainability or is it respect. And the third is what we're going to do now. It's look at a list and try to select your values. It may sound simplistic, but it will force you to prioritize. Define success, align with your values. Let's see what's next. Surround yourself with the right people. So we've heard this so many times, it's become a cliche. You become the average of the 5 people you most spend time with. Have you heard this? And I heard this and I was, the people you spend time influence you. When I read the research, it's quite shocking. Do you know how much your probability of getting a divorce increases if a friend of yours gets a divorce?
Really?
Give me a percentage. Give me a percentage. How much you have a friend gets a divorce, how much your probabilities of getting a divorce? 75%. Divorce is contagious, but so is income. Like if you spend time with richer people, your income tends to increase, or being a good parent, or whatever. So the point here is not to abandon the friends that got a divorce. It is to think about who you spend time with, and are there people around you that inspire you and help you be where you want to be, or have the remarkable career you want to have. And the question I get usually at this is, how do I get mentors? That's the usual question I get from people in a corporate environment. Do you have a mentoring program? You do? Okay, great. You do that if you have it. If you don't have it, it's actually pretty awkward to send someone, do you want to be my mentor? Like, I've seen it work, but people can be overwhelmed by their requests. What do you mean? How much time do you want from me? We're all busy. So you need to be more specific and more time-bound and more deliberate. Like, it's different thing, do you want to be my mentor, versus, could we have a lunch I'd like your advice on X. Always, that's my advice for people that ask me, how do I get mentors? So the bottom line here is, think where you want to be. It can be career-wise. Let's say you're interested in the future moving to HR. Who are the right people? How can you spend more time with HR people, if that's what you want? So now that you know where your success is, think who is around you and whether they're helping you or not. Step number 4, select your habits. Aristotle, fellow Greek, said, "We are what we repeatedly do." There are 2 types of habits that I think are important for you to have a remarkable career. First are the habits that will make you great at what you do. Because that's the elephant in the room here. To have a remarkable career, you have to be really good at what you do. We all want, in a remarkable career, I would say meaning. That's something we all want. And a lot of people want autonomy as well. These are 2 elements of a remarkable career. And there's research, Cal Newport in his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, found out that to have meaning and to have autonomy, you need to be so good they can't ignore you. Like, it's really hard to, early in your career when you don't know what you're doing, people to give you autonomy or really have enough impact to have meaning as much as you want to. So what are the habits that will help you become really good? And there's research, some people say that it's 10,000 hours, 10 years to become excellent, to be world-class at what you do. We build expertise little by little, day by day. There is a second group of habits which is important in order to have a remarkable career. And these are habits that you take care of yourself. You know, if you burn out, you're not gonna have a remarkable career. And there's a burnout epidemic because we just don't balance. Even in the research that you need 10,000 hours to become excellent, these people took 10 years. That means they were working. They were violinists and sports people. They were working 4 hours a day. What does this mean? These people are becoming world-class violinists. Yes, they put in 10,000 hours, but they were taking 4 hours a day practicing, and then they were reflecting on their practice. So what the habits that are really important here is, how do you set boundaries? How do you refresh yourself? How do you recharge yourself, whether it's sports, meditation, conversations that you have developmental with your coaching in the morning, friendships, hanging out with friends, all the habits that will help you being balanced, not burn out, taking care of yourself so you fill in your cup so you have things to give to other people. I have 2 tips here because I talked about habits. Yes, we all get habits that are important. How do you start a new habit? 2 tips here. First, you find an anchor habit, something you're already doing, a habit you already do every day. And I'll give you an example. I drop my daughter to school every day, and I have to do this. There's nobody else to drop her off, or she really wants me to drop her off. So I anchored 2 other habits that I wanted to start on this. So as we're going to school, we do a gratitude practice, which is something I wanted to start. So every day we say what you're grateful for. And then after I drop her, I run for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, just around the block. And this is the second tip. You make your new habit as tiny as possible. And that's what we get wrong. Like in January, everybody says, we're going to the gym, and all the gyms are full, and we're going for an hour, and then in February, the gyms are empty. And that's the mistake we make. We try to start too big. So the trick is, so that's actually true, that's what I'm doing now. I just run around the block 5 minutes, and I do it every day though, I don't break the chain. So after I establish the habit, which I haven't done yet, because there are some days I'm saying, it's cold today, maybe I could just skip the 5 minutes around the block. So I still, obviously, I haven't established the habit. Once I do, it may take 1, 2 months, 3 months, and I do it without fail, without even thinking it, then I can grow it. I can do, from 5 minutes, we can go 10 minutes. Step number 5, find your courage. When people come in coaching and they are talking about taking a risk, the first thing we do is try to mitigate the risk. You know, I don't believe in the let's take huge risks, and you know, even Warren Buffett said, rule number 1, never lose money. You know, successful people actually, they don't find the most risky opportunities, they find the opportunities that have a lot of rewards and minimal risks. So that's first. I'm not here to tell you, oh, you need to take the greater risks and that's how you're going to have a remarkable career. Plan. That said though, there is no way you're going to have a remarkable career or going to fulfill your 3-year vision without leaving your comfort zone, without doing things that require courage, without sending that email, making that phone call, speaking up in that meeting, writing that article, sitting on that stage and speaking. I don't know what it is, but there will be things that you will do that will require courage. And there is a problem. That our brain that was developed for millions of years in the African savanna is not there to make us happy, or our brain is not designed to make us have a remarkable career. Our brain is designed to keep us safe. And what we see is we're afraid of loss more than we desire gain. There's a lot of research on this. You're afraid of losing 10 euros rather than you want gaining 10 euros. So I want to share with you a trick to actually use that element of your brain, that feature that has now become a bug, in your favor. And that trick is asking the question, what is the cost of inaction? Because when you're thinking of changing the status quo, it's very easy to see what you may risking or what you may lose, right? If I speak up in this meeting, I may lose this. My colleagues may think worse of me. It's very easy, and that's why we don't do it. But so with this simple question, you help your brain, you help your mind calculate the loss of doing nothing. So you use your fear of loss, that is a feature of your brain, to propel you into action. You use it in your favor. Step number 6, bounce back. It might sound counterintuitive, but more successful people have more failures in their trajectory. And that's because the way to become successful is stretching yourself and trying things that are uncertain. And in that way, you will collect more failures along the way. So if you're finding yourself not having enough failures, you're probably not realizing your potential because you're not trying enough uncertain things or enough faraway things. So failure is a stepping stone towards success and towards a remarkable career. That's a fact. What we need though is to find a way to bounce back. That's what separates people that give up and stay miserable after a failure or never try again, and people that bounce back after a failure and really keep going and end up fulfilling more of their vision. Here are some ways to bounce back. First, try to write down your narrative, what happened. The worst thing you can do is ruminating in your head. And as you write the narrative, try to see two things. What's the silver lining? What's the positive out of this? Let's say you had a meeting that went wrong, or you made a mistake, or you got a bad performance review, whatever that is. We all had this type of incidents in our careers, right? What's the positive? Even if it is, I learned not to behave this way, or never to do this again, or try this next time. And what's the lesson? And that's how you actually can let go of past negative experience go. Like when we carry past negative experiences, it's usually because we haven't learned the lesson that we were meant to learn out of them. Third, see that you're not alone. That's something I love doing. When I remember I had a failure at work in my corporate career. And what I did after that, I tried and found out all the successful people that had failures, including Michael Jordan. I have there, like for I think in 26 games, he was supposed to do the final shot and he lost, and the game was lost. And he says, I failed so many times, that's why I succeed. But even, Oprah was demoted, and Walt Disney didn't get a job because they told him he's not creative. And the founder of WhatsApp didn't get a job on Facebook, and then Facebook bought him for $1 billion. And I found all the stories, and I was feeling better. So remember, you're not alone. We're all connected in our difficult moments. And also, talk with some friends, get some support when you are dealing with a failure. And the final step is be compassionate with yourself. Sometimes, difficult things happen in our career, and what we need to do is give ourselves some time and nurture ourselves, and rather than rush ourselves, I need to bounce back. Sometimes you need to nurture and be compassionate with yourself and allow some time. And then you bounce back stronger. Celebrate. And I would say this is the most important of all 7, because in life and career, we're always lured to believe that success is in the future. At school is when I graduate, and then is when I get this job, and then is when I get this promotion, when I save this amount of money, and when I pay off the mortgage, and when the kids grow up, and it's always in the future. And if you don't take a moment to celebrate what you've already achieved, you'll never feel you had a remarkable career, because you'll always, once you achieve something, you're on to the next thing. So first, I'd like you to find an excuse, or not an excuse, find a reason to celebrate. However you like to celebrate, with your loved ones, your own, and do that the next week. That's your challenge. And also, I want you to go in your workbooks, and this is an important exercise, and write down What makes your career remarkable already, as you are, with what you have achieved? No need to do anything else. Step number 1, define success for yourself. Step number 2, align with your values. Take time. I know we didn't have enough time today to really go deep. What is it that I value? And then align your priorities with that. Allow where you spend your money, energy, and time with those values. Surround yourself with the right people for what you're trying to accomplish, right? Select your habits, react what we repeatedly do, find your courage, bounce back, and celebrate. The last idea I wanted to leave you with, and I took it from a TED Talk that's called Why You'll Fail to Have a Great Career, is that all of us, we have a dream around our careers. And at some point, we may give up. We may settle, and some excuses may come in. I'm too busy, or family, and we forget how we act as a model as well for our family. And what we want is, when the point comes that your child, or your niece, or your nephew, or your mentee, we all have younger people that look up to us. When they come to you and tell you, I have a dream, and it's risky, and it might sound crazy. I have this dream, but I want to do it. What you want to be able to do is to be able to say, go for it, kid. Just like I did. Thank you.